We still have 2 minutes. Okay, we're waiting. We have about 1 more minute. Okay. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We opened our meeting at 4 o'clock. We established a quorum, and then we adjourned to closed session. And at this time, would our trustee, student trustee, Lillian, would you like to read our welcome?
Yes. Welcome to our board meeting. Documents provided to a majority of the governing board regarding this agenda will be made available for public inspection in the district office located at 20932 Big Canyon Road, Middletown, California, during normal business hours. Such writings and documents will be posted on the district's website at middletownusd.org and clicking on Board of Education. A file copy is also available in front of the meeting room. Said file is not to be removed from the room. A focus on all of our students' best interest is the touchstone for our decisions. Remember, it's okay to be hard on issues, not on people.
Okay, thank you. And at this time, Janelle, would you lead us in the pledge? Okay. Trustee Lee, will you report out on closed session?
Yes, the board took 2 actions in closed session today. Under item 3E, the board approved a settlement, and under item 3F, the board approved a stipulated expulsion.
Okay, thank you. And item C, approval of agenda. May I have approval to, or may I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Move to approve the agenda.
It's been moved by Chris. Do I have a second?
I second.
Second by Allison. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed 5-0. Approval of minutes. May I have a motion to approve both August 8th and August 20th meeting minutes?
I move to approve.
Second. I'm sorry, who moved? Allison moved to approve, and it was seconded by Patsy. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed 4-0. Okay. At this time, the board, it's our time to go ahead and share something that you would like to share. And I'd like to start with student trustee. Lillian.
So there's been a lot of positive things around MHS. And starting off with MHS sports, both football teams won their game last Friday against Piedmont. JV won 40-0 and varsity won 32-17. Boys soccer won their bracket at Upper Lake this last weekend on Saturday the 6th. Soccer girls tied 1-1 against Credo. On Tuesday, our junior varsity team for volleyball won against Cloverdale. Up and coming for sports. Cross country has their first official match in Fort Bragg on Wednesday, September 10th. Thursday, both soccer teams go to Willits and the volleyball team plays in Kelseyville. Friday, football goes against Cloverdale and the girls soccer team go on an overnight trip to Eureka. FFA and fair related. 2 of our seniors this year won Supreme Grand Champions. Lily Solis got Supreme Grand Champion Reserve for turkeys, and Alyssa Judson won Supreme Grand Champion for goats. Wednesday and Thursday, Miss Jones is taking 9 students to Scotia for the Redwood Resource Rally. On September 19th, Miss Jones will be taking students to help with the Lake County Wine Alliance, which is a huge fundraiser for the arts and agriculture programs in Lake County. MHS had a club rush on September 4th. This year, there were many new clubs formed, some formed last year but not as big or presented from last year's club rush. Native American Club, Nature and Hiking Club, Pokemon Club, Bible Study Club, and Chess Club. Miss Gibson's folk dance class is doing a performance on Friday the 19th on Cobb Elementary at 6 p.m. Now, health classes are eligible for volunteering or job shadowing at Adventist Health. This year's homecoming date is set on September 27th from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., and the theme for homecoming is Rio. And that's all.
What was the theme for homecoming?
The date is set on September 27th from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., and the theme for homecoming is Rio.
Oh, okay, great, awesome. That's going to be colorful. Okay, the board members. Patsy, do you have anything you'd like to share at this time?
I just wanted to share, I went up to the fair for auction on Saturday, and the kids did really well. It was Labor Day weekend, and other than that, it's been pretty quiet in Patchyville.
Okay, thank you. Chris?
I've got nothing right now.
Okay. Allison?
I just wanted to say that I did get a lot of good reports back from FFA2, and again, so people came and said that promoting those add-ons were really helpful for people who weren't able to buy an animal necessarily. And also just in general, I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from students and parents about the start of the year. And so I just wanted to say that I'm going to try, when I get those kinds of things, to send an email to teachers or administrators or anybody that I hear that deserves an accolade. Look for an email from me, because I know everybody works hard, and we all have a lot of things we're trying to accomplish, but also sometimes some things that we have to stumble over. So sometimes it's nice to have some accolades too. So thank you, everybody, and I'm glad to see all your faces.
Thank you. And Annette?
Yeah, I just want to circle back to something that I brought up last month, just to reiterate in case folks weren't able to hear it last month, that Woodland College recognizes Middletown Unified as its biggest dual enrollment partner. And so that's bigger than all of those big high schools in Woodland even, and it's because we have such a strong team of teachers and our counselor and administrators here at MHS that really work hard to make dual enrollment work. Also, just a note that there is a set of late start classes that start at the college in October. So if there are high school students that are feeling like they'd like a little extra and might want to get a college class on their transcript, it's still possible to enroll in a class that might start in October and end in December. So just something to be aware of. If you can fit it into your schedule, it's a nice way to get some college units under your belt and to save a little bit of money. These units are free to you right now as high schoolers, but they are expensive once you get to college. So, and also, the campus is starting to offer the SAT again. For many years, they stopped doing that. I know that the CSUs and the UCs don't require the SAT anymore, but there are a lot of out-of-state colleges, and if you have an athlete that wants to play college sports, they may, get recruited by a college that still requires the SAT. So if you need to take the SAT, make sure you keep track of the dates that it's offered at the Lake County campus.
Thank you. A lot of good information. Okay, and on to the superintendent.
Okay, so got a few things. The phrase that has been bouncing around in my head a lot the last couple of weeks has been behind the scenes. There is a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and just appreciating from teachers. Students show up to class and teachers have things prepared and ready, and there's a lot that goes into lesson planning and grading and making all those things happen. When you go to sports, it's kind of obvious that there's been practices and things that are going on, but even those practices, that when they're organized, you have the coaches that are doing things. I also went to the fair, and obviously the students do a lot of work in raising the animals, which means that I'm guessing that the parents often do a lot of work raising the animals. I will tell you, I got there in time to see the goats being shown. I saw students wearing the white 4-H, who I have never seen look that clean ever. And I'm guessing their parents are thinking the same thing. So behind the scenes of that, and also just the behind the scenes of the laundry that it takes to do to keep those 4-H students clean and all that white. A lot of our staff, from food service to IT to maintenance and transportation, we take for granted that the oil's been changed and the tires are new, and just this room being set up. We walk in and figure that it's going to be set up and on time, and all the microphones are going to work, and all the technology is going to work, and all the chairs are set up. There's a lot that goes into that. One of the biggest areas where I've seen a lot of behind the scenes is that anybody who's familiar with our middle school knows that they, from last school year to this school year, made some significant changes. They took away pride pages and put in Minga points. They have created houses. They have created a flex period where they can do house meetings and different things that go on sixth period. The amount of work that took from Ms. Dorman and the office staff to the teachers. There were multiple opportunities for teachers to come in and meet over the school year. It's not just Ms. Dorman sitting in her office and saying, what do I want to do? So there were a lot of teachers that went into that. I will tell you another one that you're going to see here coming up in a couple of weeks is that we're about to break ground on our new middle school gym. And anybody who's been coming to board meetings for a while knows that has been on the docket for a while. There is the amount of hours and work and things that have gone on to getting us just to the starting line is amazing. And so just behind the scenes has been, and kind of as Allison talked about, kind of an appreciation for things that happen and people that do things, and it's been great to see. The other thing that I just want to touch base on, and I'm maybe stealing a little of Miss Michelle's thunder, is that we're going to talk about our unaudited actuals, which is a budgetary thing, which is talking about where our finances ended up from last year. And there's some good news wrapped up in those, that it looks like we're seeing benefits from some of the hard decisions that we have made as a school district, as a team, as a community. We're not sure exactly how it's all going to play out and how things are going, but we're pleased to see that hopefully things are going in the right direction. And so again, behind the scenes, the work that goes into getting those ready to go is amazing. The times that I walk into Tanya's office, I've started to drag my feet to make noise because she gets so focused that she doesn't realize I'm there, and I make a sound and she gets startled. And so anyway, there's a lot of work that goes into a lot of the things that look like they just magically happen, and nothing just magically happens. There's a lot of work that goes into a lot of it, and so I just want to express that appreciation. And I know that I've missed people, and I know that I've missed programs and things, but that's my comment for tonight.
Okay, thank you. And I just want to add to that, which your September newsletter that is on our website
Thank you.
was really great to read, and we appreciate, the board appreciates reading through that and knowing that the community also, now that they're aware of it, will read through it. And you have given us an invitation, and everybody an invitation. If there's something exciting going on, please send that.
Let me know.
Thank you for that.
Yep.
Okay. At this time, we're going to have special acknowledgement, and we're going to start with student number 1, Middletown High School.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to the board. Good evening to Mr. Crane. Thank you for your continued support. Let's get right to it. The Middletown High School #1 student for the month of August is Trinity Wood. Mrs. Barker, our athletic director and math teacher, says, Trinity is a great student, maintaining high grades. She balances her academics with athletics, being on the girls' soccer team. She has a positive attitude and is always friendly. Mrs. Harmon, our academic counselor, says, Trinity is an excellent student with a very rigorous schedule who is incredibly polite and kind. Mrs. Stetson, our English teacher, says, Trinity is an excellent student who greatly contributes to the classroom environment. She is kind and helpful to everyone and excels at many things. Mr. Hall, our PE teacher, says, Trinity is a hardworking student that does not let anything hold her back. She always gives 100% in class and has been willing to help others. She displays many leadership qualities that are great to see in a freshman. So I present to you Middletown High School's #1 student for the month of August, Trinity Wood.
Okay, that's awesome. Middletown Middle School.
Good evening. Okay. The #1 student at MMS this month is Miss Riley Slate. Oh, she's surprised. She was brought here under false pretenses. But she handles it like a champ, which is one of the reasons that she was nominated. Staff nominated her for many reasons. One being her willingness to try something new this year and run for class president with an incredible sense of confidence. She cares about others and is a good role model, very dedicated, and is our class president this year. So we are so thankful that she's going to lead our student body well. She always checks in with adults on campus, has a great sense of humor, and often offers a smile to all of us. She cares deeply about her grades, always asking questions and checking in. And we just love her on campus. So congratulations, Riley. Good job.
Okay, that's awesome. Cobb Mountain Elementary.
Good evening. Cobb Mountain would like to call Paul Blues as our Student of the Month. Cobb Mountain is proud to announce Paul Blues as our Student of the Month. He's an all-around excellent student, kind, hardworking, and consistently sets an example for those around him. If you looked up the definition of hardworking in the dictionary, you would see his photo. He never quits. Paul figures out what the project expectations are, and then he steadily works to achieve them. He doesn't give up when things get tough. His work is meticulous, and his grit and determination will continue to serve him well in the future. Paul is off to an amazing start in his 5th grade year. Within just a little over a month, he has already read 269,128 words, and I know he's going to well surpass his goal of 1 million words this year. In conclusion, Paul is a super easy choice for Student of the Month at Cobb Mountain. His character and academic strengths set the standard. We couldn't be more proud to call him one of our own. Way to go, Paul.
Okay, next, Minnie Cannon.
Can I have Hazel Battaglia Clary come on up? All right, Hazel's a 5th grader at Minnie Cannon Elementary. Hazel's a bright, kind, and all-around amazing kid. She stands out not only because of her strong academics, but her amazing kindness, joy, and sense of humor, very important in school. She has a love of reading and often can be found and lost in a good story. Her kindness can be found around students and staff. One classmate says, Hazel always makes sure nobody feels left out. Important quality, keep that quality. Another great quality is her sense of humor. She has a laugh that can fill the room. Another classmate said, she can always make me laugh, even when I'm having a bad day. Her cheerful disposition makes her a joy to be around, and she helps create a fun, welcoming atmosphere in the classroom. She's a great friend and thoughtful teammate. Her teachers feel the same way. She's a kind student. Congratulations, Hazel.
Okay, next, Coyote Valley.
All right, good evening. I'd like to bring up Coyote Valley's #1 Student of the Month, Leah Inyo. Okay, these are comments that are made by her teacher, Miss Moore. It is with great pleasure that we recognize Leah Inyo as Coyote Valley's Student of the Month. Leah is an incredible student that is attentive and engaged. In class, Leah listens intently, contributes meaningfully, and asks insightful questions that push the entire class to think more deeply. She approaches assignments with dedication and care. Leah doesn't settle for good enough. She is always reaching higher to ensure exceptional work. This is particularly evident in her writing, which is vivid and thoughtful, filled with strong and expressive vocabulary, and supported with clear and compelling reasoning. But Leah is much more than just an outstanding student. She is a quiet force of kindness, integrity, and determination. She is incredibly polite, consistently positive, and her classmates know that they can trust her to answer a question or provide support without hesitation. One of Leah's most beautiful strengths is her ability to explain ideas with clarity and patience. helping others build their understanding in a way that is both encouraging and empowering. Her drive, motivation, and quiet leadership are truly inspiring. Leah, we are so proud of you and can't wait to see what amazing things you will go on to do. Keep being exactly who you are. The world needs more of it. Congratulations.
Okay, and then we do have a staff number 1 in special education.
Okay, hello, I'm Tamara Slate, Director of Special Education. It is with great pride that we recognize Miss Maria Sanchez as our number 1 for this month. I have had the privilege of working alongside Miss Maria for several years, and during that time she has consistently demonstrated unwavering professionalism, compassion, and dedication in her work with students. Maria goes above and beyond what is expected of her, whether she's supporting students during extracurricular activities or ensuring that they are progressing towards their goals and receiving the services they need. Maria is always fully present and engaged. Her commitment to student success is evident in everything she does. Even on challenging days, Maria's positive spirit shines through. She greets everyone with a warm smile and kind words, uplifting both students and staff alike. Her kindness, reliability, and tireless work ethic make her an invaluable asset to MUSD. Maria Sanchez truly exemplifies what it means to be a dedicated educator and colleague. We are grateful for her continued contributions and honored to recognize her outstanding work.
Okay, at this time, our number 1 students and parents, if you want to stay, you're more than welcome to, or you may go ahead and go. We appreciate everything you and your students work for and how hard you work. Thank you. No.
Dinner and homework and post number 1 treats. Wait.
Okay, next we're going to start with reports to the board. Is there an MTA representative that would like to speak?
Roll the dice, your number came up. Oh, it might not be on yet.
Patsy made me do it. Is it on now? Okay, cool.
Can I start using that? Excuse.
Yeah. And I brought my glasses this time because I'm getting old and I can't read. Anyway, I'm Adam Evans. I'm MTA co-president. I just have a few options. We've had a couple meetings this year with MTA. MTA's looking really good this year. We have really good feedback from the teaching staff as to what's going on around here. MTA is looking forward to starting in negotiations next week. So we're going to start our negotiations process. We look forward to a productive meeting with positive outcomes, so we're really optimistic. MTA is also looking forward to working with the district over the next several months to come up with retention and recruitment solutions that will strengthen the staff at MUSD. It's been our concern that we keep seeing losing really seasoned staff and not being able to really retain and actually like get other people to come over here. So we really want to come up with some unique solutions to try to get staff to come here and want to stay here, because I love it here and most everybody else does too. Part of the concerns that comes from this is part of our peer support program. So I'm going to give you some numbers that you may have seen this. This may be the first time you've heard it. So our peer support, if you don't know, it's for anybody that is a pre-credentialed teacher, and we provide a teacher that actually gives them one-on-one support. Usually it's at least an hour a week, and then also observations to help give them, just the extra support that they need. You're looking at about, sorry, I gotta get closer. You're looking at about 200 hours investment by each teacher to give to each one of those teachers that are coming in. So over the last just 8 years, we've had 37 pre-credentialed teachers. So those are teachers that are coming in all pre-credentialed. Only 14 of those teachers have remained with our district. So 14 out of 37 in 8 years. And of those 14, only 4 have stayed to complete 5 years with us. So our concern is that we're investing all this time and money to keep those, to help support those teachers and help to make them better, and then they just leave. And we want to work on trying to not only value our MTAs, their strengths and their assistance to help train these incoming teachers, but we want to keep them. We want to keep them here because we're putting all this effort into them, so we want to make sure that they stay, because right now other schools love us because we train really good teachers, which is the truth. Okay? Any questions?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really good information. I wonder if you guys have any information about similar statistics at other schools, if other schools experience the same kind of turnover, or is it the 5-year mark that's the sweet spot at every school district, or is that really where our teachers tend to leave?
From the numbers that I've seen when I talk to our regional rep, it really depends on school to school, and unfortunately, a lot of it has to do with salaries, and then obviously climate. So I can tell you a couple of the schools that are in the same type of situation that we're in. Climate is worse at those schools. We have a good climate, but what the driving factor in our area tends to be is resources, if you will. Not just financial, but also like housing.
Housing.
There's a lot of different ones. That's why MTA is looking forward to trying to come up with some unique, enticing things to keep the teachers here. Because we're just putting in a lot of investment into them. I can work with our regional person to see if there's more solid data.
Oh, it's okay. I just was curious.
Yeah, we've talked to, I've talked to several of them and with our co-president, and it's been pretty, the issue is since 2008, because we all know what happened in 2008, the state came in and said, goodbye, teachers, and then, what happened since then is people are not going into teaching. It's just the reality. And so since then, we've had an increase in need and a decrease in actual people that can actually fill that need. So we're fighting not only like a pool of people, but we're also trying to pull people in. And what we're really good at this school, I've seen, is getting those people to come in and training them. And then they're like, oh, we're good. And then they leave. And they're going to other districts, going to other places. So we want to try to keep them here, because not only will, by keeping them here, it will make us happier. We'll actually save in costs and continuing to train. Right now, if you look at our, I think we have 67 MTA members, 67. If you look at the numbers, we're really, really bottom heavy. So we have most our staff is 5 years and under. We don't have senior staff. I think next year we're going to have 2 employees hitting the 10-year mark. That's it. Our fear is, looking at who's going to be potentially retiring, all our senior staff is going away. Then you're going to have somebody like me. I'm just hitting my 5 years here. I've done 18, 19 total. I'm considered a senior staff member. We don't even have a lot of people like me. A lot of them are just younger. So we're burning out our higher end, our top tier teachers. And it's getting tiring because we're putting all of our effort into helping, these teachers succeed, and then we come back and we're like, they're gone? What?
Yeah.
So we really want to try to come up with ways to keep them here.
Well, one thing I try to recognize is, sometimes when they leave, they do come back. It might be, 1 or 2 years, it might be through an experience at another district, and they say, Middletown, I'm going to take that, if it is a financial thing, take that cut, or housing, I'm going to drive from the Riviera to Middletown now instead. I have seen that, and so I hope that starts happening more, because I think we really are working in a positive direction.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is the housing.
Mm-hmm.
Huge, so hopefully there's some future plans. I'm hoping that helps too. And then recruitment fairs, are we doing that? I'd like to possibly.
See, and I think what part of it is like, I know in MTA's perspective, it's always the same group of people asked to do more. We can only do so much before we get bogged down.
The peer support is definitely one of those behind the scenes things. Having been in those conversations, absolutely, there's a lot, and those folks are doing a lot to help support not just pre-service teachers, but even teachers who are new to our district. They may have umpteen years of experience somewhere else, but our teacher group, and there are some things that are legally required, like we're legally required to provide support for teachers who are newly credentialed, which is a little bit ironic that these teachers who don't even have a credential yet, but like our teachers, this is one of those behind the scenes, above and beyond things that MUSD teachers do to make sure, and I've been in those meetings to know the level of sincerity that they bring to the table of wanting to make sure that the service that teachers are getting, the support that teachers are getting, matches the need. It's really an impressive group.
And this is like, most of it is after hours. Mm-hmm. Like we can't really go, it's difficult you can't really go and help them actively in the classroom so much. Even when I was peer support, I would go during my prep. So I wasn't prepping for my classes, I was going and observing and helping a teacher at the same time.
I would encourage you to think about reaching out to retired folks. I know both of my parents have often from time to time said, why doesn't anybody call me? I'd love to do this
Perfect.
for them.
Put him on the phone right now.
So, I have his number, Mr. Albertson.
Seriously, I think our retired community members might be willing to pitch in and do some of that mentoring.
That's a great idea, and I'll put that on there. That's one of the unique, let's come up with some ways to help this out. Because I know even when I went to school here, it was all the same teachers forever, and all we have left is Mrs. Pizer. So, she's being quiet over there.
Thank you, Mrs. Pizer.
Anything else?
And Mrs. Pizer.
Times two.
Yeah.
Pizers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will just share one more piece of context, is that we were looking at the county level of looking at, and they're called PIPs and STIPs, Provisional Internship Permit and Short-Term Staff Permit. I'm not sure why the S in Short-Term Staff Permit becomes a STIP, but I guess it's because it rhymes. Lake County has the second most of those percentage-wise in the state. Modoc County is the other one that has a higher percentage than we do. So it is something that is not just us, I'm gonna paint with a broad brush, and as we're looking at Modoc County being the other one that is a higher percentage than we have, rurality is part of it. And so there are pluses and minuses to living where we do.
Right.
Well, all I can say is keep up the good work, hang in there.
Yep.
We're going in a positive direction. I have that really good feeling.
For sure.
CSEA rep, is there a CSEA representative tonight?
They're normally right there.
I know, she's not feeling well. She
Oh, no.
emailed me, yeah. Van Pelt representative, I don't see.
No, they are not here. We're going to see a lot of them over the next few months. The mobilization day, we're looking at September 22nd, that our contractor, the superintendent, not me, the building superintendent, has already been out, actually has made contact with Mrs. Dorman, and they're making preparations, getting ready, aligning all of the people who they need to align, and making sure that they're ready to go. But September 22nd, we should be making moves. I think that's a tentative day for our groundbreaking ceremony, but we don't have finalization on that. We will let you know as soon as we do. Because we're going to have a little party.
Are we?
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions about that? Because we'll go on to department reports for special education. Thanks, Tim.
Okay, hello again. So, special education department update. So, current student data. We have 193 students currently eligible for special education services, and we have 12 students that are pending initial assessments. These numbers reflect an increase from last school year, indicating continued growth and need across our district. So, some exciting news. While we lost our OT therapist last year, we hired another in-person OT therapist, Kristen Woods, and she provides services to all of our sites within the district. So we're excited to have her. At the end of last year, we contracted with a BCBA. So she's virtual, so that's a board-certified behavior analysis. And while she's virtual, but she does help with our students and our staff for behaviors. So that's very exciting to have her as a support. And then we do have some new staff. So we do have a new staff, Maria Smith out at Coyote Valley. She's the resource teacher. And Miss Jules, who was there, moved to the middle school, so we didn't lose her. So looking at some programs overview, at the middle school we have 25 students in our resource room, and that's an in-person teacher. At the high school we have one full-time resource teacher who services 25 students. We have one SDC classroom that's middle school and high school that is currently with a virtual teacher.
And some amazing paraprofessionals.
Amazing paraprofessionals. I can't say enough about the paraprofessionals that we have. We have some amazing
Yeah, in other classes too, just when you talk about a virtual one there.
Yes, especially in the virtual one. So then Minican and Cobb and some of our overflow for the high school, she currently has 26 students that she serves through those 3 sites. Coyote Valley, we do have one resource program that services 16 students currently. We have a special day class, mild to moderate, that services 9 students. And then we have one extensive support needs class, an ESN class, that's servicing 7 students. So some professional development opportunities. One, we were just informed of this. It's a paraeducator training, and it's offered by San Diego County Office of Education, and it's an online training, and it's available for 1st through 8th grade paraeducators. It's online. It's a 6-week course. They can kind of work at their own pace. Those who know the Keenan trainings, it's kind of like that. and it will give them up to 15 hours of professional development credit. And through this program, there is a grant, so everyone that actually successfully completes the 6-week course will get a $1,500 incentive from the grant through San Diego County Office of Education. Through this as well, the cost is free for our paraeducators. So it's a great opportunity for our paraeducators. Another one is our Crisis Prevention Institution, CPI training. Right before school, I went to a 3-day training up at LCOE, and I became a certified instructor. Yay.
Yay.
So I will have to, now I'm able to train our staff, and so I'm pretty excited about that. I have one scheduled to co-teach on October 9th on our break, and then another one on January 5th when we come back from winter break on that PD day. And I'm hoping to gather a lot more of our staff then. So it's open to really anybody, but I'm focusing mostly on the special education teachers and the paraeducators. So that's it. Any questions?
Can you let us know CPI, what does that mean?
So it's Crisis Prevention Institute. What it is it helps with de-escalation of behaviors, ensuring the safety and well-being of the students when they are escalated, tips, strategies on how to, if we start to see them become escalated, what we can do verbally to help them not get to here, kind of keep them here,
Yeah.
As much as possible.
And so that would be helpful for bus drivers, noon aides, classroom aides.
Yeah, really anybody.
Everybody and anybody.
Yeah, my like I said, my main focus is the SPED, but yes,
Yeah.
anybody is able to attend. So.
And how many SDC classrooms shared with Middletown Middle School? How many students in that?
It is. Oh, did I not put it on there?
That one doesn't have a number.
Apparently, I did not put that on there. I do
Top of
believe
your head.
it's 17.
About 7? That's
Yeah,
I was going to say that.
The caseload
yeah.
max is 18, and I was like, ooh, we're getting pretty close to that. So, yeah.
And so the virtual teacher, so we're still flying that position, I'm assuming, and just hoping that we have somebody.
Yeah, we have 2 positions open right now. We have that one, and then our ESN classroom out at Coyote Valley.
Mm-hmm.
That is not filled yet.
And that's virtual too then?
We
Yes.
actually have, thankfully, we had a long-term sub in there. She's ending the beginning of October, so we have a couple other subs that have subbed in that classroom, so we're able to utilize them for another month. But we do have some behind-the-scenes things that we are trying to hopefully be implemented, so.
And, I just, as a board, like to thank the paraeducators, because I know that they're, they're such a core strength for the program.
Absolutely.
Really would like to
For sure.
thank them.
Anything else? All right, thank you.
For those of you paying close attention to the program, realize that we did not have a number 1, and we're also not going to have a department report from Maintenance Operations and Transportation tonight. That will happen next month. We had a miscommunication on our end, so I apologize for that confusion.
Okay. At this time, item H, community comments. Those in the audience desiring to address the board regarding items not on the agenda may do so at this time, and each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board and make a brief statement, express his or her viewpoint, or ask a question regarding matters related to the school system. Please understand that the board does not take any action on non-agendized items. And also, I just want to know that we do appreciate the time that the community might take to come up and speak to us as a board, whether it be during this evening at our general board meetings, or by email, or personally if you run into us, or we do, we listen, we take that information in, and we reach out to our superintendent and ask him for follow-up, and he does pretty much report back to us. So I do want to just say that. I hope that was okay.
Pretty much.
With the board. And
He pretty much reports back. Okay, thank you.
When it's appropriate, yes, that's why I
Okay.
said.
So we have one speaker tonight,
We do.
Charlie Townsend. Actually, let me just take notes.
Let me know when you're ready. All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me this evening. My name is Charlie Townsend, and I'm the mother of five-year-old Cameron Wolf, who attends kindergarten at Cobb Elementary. Tonight, I'll discuss from the first incident on August 14th to today, September 10th. My son has attended school for 14 of these days. Within this time, Cameron has been elbowed in the head, hit in the head, punched in the face, dragged across the ground, kicked once in the nose, causing a mark, could have caused a break, and once in the cheekbone, causing bruising. 6 of these attacks have been from one inter-district transfer student. Inter-district terms and conditions read as follows. Inter-district permits may be revoked for any of the following: a student who does not benefit from instruction and/or disrupts the learning environment, including disciplinary incidents, violation of school or district rules and/or procedures. Not only do these offenses call for termination of the permit, but the lack of follow-through from the principal, Angie Stevenson, and the superintendent, Jeff Crane, violate the comprehensive school safety plan on page 47. The bullying discipline matrix states the first offense, 1 to 5 day suspension, repeated occurrences, 3 to 5 day suspension, possible recommendation for expulsion. As far as I'm concerned, this student has had a 1-day suspension for kicking my son in the face. Lake County Sheriff's Department says the assaults fall on the district and the board for follow through, so I'm here to ask today, where is it? After 2 meetings with Mr. Crane, multiple calls with Angie, a classroom sit-in, an email to all of you, the situation remains the same. I would like to ask all of you to consider what it's like to watch your child's mental health and well-being deteriorate right in front of you. Isn't the California Education Code 215 supposed to protect that? When asking how his day was yesterday, he said, "That kid didn't hit me." That is earth-shattering for a mother to hear from their child. He tells me that he can't tell adults anymore because when he gets hurt, nothing happens and it just makes the other student mad. My child is being failed by your system, as well as others who have been victimized. If you know Cameron, you would know how special he is, and you do. Please help me keep him safe. I agree that this other student needs love and consistency, but please not at the expense of my son and other students. I'm holding you all accountable today because I don't know where else to go or what else to do other than pull my child from this district. I'm asking you to please fix this. Thank you for hearing me today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to speak on behalf of the board real quick, that they do hear, even though it's not something that we're going to be able to discuss in this setting, that they very much do hear and appreciate, as Zoe said, that they appreciate your coming out to speak, as do I, and I know Ms. Stevenson does as well.
Okay, item 5, consent calendar. Items A through G needing, are there any items A through G that need to be pulled for discussion? Okay, Allison, would you like to thank our donors?
Oh, I would, yes. This is always a fun part of the night. This time, MHS Volleyball would like to thank Randy and Christy Watson, as well as Rhonda Farnham. MHS FFA would like to thank Middletown Luncheon Club, and they would also like to thank Salt Lick Signs for the donation of a custom livestock trailer sign, which I'm sure was very helpful and made them feel good. Does it?
Oh, cool.
It's pretty.
MHS Shop and Ag Department would like to thank JJ Electric for the donation of time and welding booth materials, which I'm sure can't necessarily, welding materials sound cumbersome and making it into a booth, so thank you very much for that. The boys, MHS boys soccer team would like to thank the Animal Hospital of Lake County and also G and Summer for the support of soccer team expenses. And just always again, a reminder that without these donations that are generously gifted to our students, they may not otherwise have the opportunity to participate in extracurricular or sporting activities. And those things greatly enrich not only their lives personally and at home and at school as well. So thank you all for your support and your dedication to our students. We couldn't do it without you.
You know, those welding booths, I went out and looked at them, and Roman is really proud of them. And not only for the students' use, but for his teaching style. It's going to be so much, I mean, they're pretty cool.
difference.
Yeah, it's going to make it so much easier. Well, I don't know about so much, but.
It's still welding.
Yeah. Okay, so back to approving the consent calendar. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Move to approve.
It's been moved by Chris. Do I have a second?
I second.
Seconded by Allison. Student trustee, do you have a vote that you would like to make a vote on this? I'm just going to keep you involved by asking that. Your vote actually doesn't count as a count, but it does count if you were to say no. I might even say, do you have a reason for that? I won't put you on that spot. But do you have a, would you like to vote on this? The consent calendar probably, Annette just let me know. It's probably not something that you would vote on. You're right. So all in favor at this point, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passed 5-0. Okay, business and facilities. Item 6A, the GAN limit resolution.
We're coming to the Tanya Michelle show.
Yeah.
That portion of the agenda.
So the GAN resolution, we need to do that each year. It's part of our closing process, and that is just recognize, the GAN limit was implemented umpteen million years ago by a gentleman named Paul Gann. And basically it puts a cap, a limit on the expenditures for all government entities. So all cities, counties, schools, state, and everyone has to report on their GAN limit at the end of the year. It all rolls up into one, and it's passed on to the state. If we had exceeded our spending limit, we would have had to acknowledge that and send that information to the state. At this point, we did not exceed our GAN limit, spending limit, so we are just recognizing that. We don't plan on exceeding it for the 25-26 fiscal year either. So this resolution and the GAN limit SACS supporting document are there for approval and review. And those get forwarded on to, well, the GAN limit in the SACS gets forwarded onto the state, and because we don't exceed our limit, there's nothing more that we need to do at this point. So that's what the GAN limit is.
Thank you, Tanya. Do I have any questions from the board? Okay, are there any questions from the community or the audience? Okay, do I have a motion to approve item 6A? It's been moved by Patsy. Do I have a second? Second by Annette. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passed 5-0. Okay, item 6B, Gas 45, CISC Trust Statement.
Okay, so the GASB 45 CISC Trust Statement, this is part of our OPEB, other post-employment retirement benefits. This was the trust that was set up many, many years ago. It just continues to build interest. We try to bring those reports as they come through quarterly and then at the end of the fiscal year so that you're aware. We started the year with a beginning balance of about $202,000, and we are ending the year at $220,000. So that's a good return. Those monies are invested in a private trust. We only have access to that money to pay for retiree benefits. So this is just bringing that annual report to you for your approval and review.
Okay, yeah, thank goodness the market's looking good right now, because that's helping build that.
Yes.
Yeah.
We want it to continue to grow.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, we do. Okay, do I have any questions from the board? And do I have a motion to approve? It's been moved by Annette. Do I have a second?
Second.
Been seconded by Chris. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passed 5-0. Item C, resolution number 1, 2526, the 24-25 final education protection account.
Okay, so this is at the beginning of each year, or when we do a budget adoption, part of the LCFF calculation is saying that this portion, X amount of dollars of your LCFF funding is in the EPA account, which is our resource for 1400. Basically, that money is designated for specifically and only educational purposes. And it's very restrictive as to what that can be spent on. Again, not administrative, not indirect, not any other type of cost. It is for classroom education. We, as a district, have chosen to spend that on teacher salaries. So each year, or each quarter, when we get our allocation, teacher salaries are transferred from the Quad Zero, the general fund, into the EPA, which helps to alleviate some of the burden on the unrestricted general fund. So these funds, just kind of a FYI, there will be some information coming out about this. These are set to sunset in a few years. They are beginning to start a campaign to get this extended. So it will probably be put on the November 26th ballot. So when you start getting information about that, we want to make sure that people are aware and they vote for it and extend it, because it's a big chunk of money for our district, and it's really, really helpful, and it would be devastating to lose that. The state would have to backfill that for all California schools, and I don't know.
This is also known as the tax on the top 1% of earners in the state.
Yes, the top 1%, yes. So that's just a little bit of information there on that. So, but these are our final numbers for the end of the year that we will be receiving. We had to recognize a receivable for one portion of it that we receive in June, because the state deferred money into July. So we've already received that into July. But these are our final actual numbers of what we spent on teacher salaries with the EPA funds that we received.
So do they cover all of our teacher salaries? No.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate the optimism.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Okay, are there any questions from the board? Item 6A, resolution, do I have a motion to approve, or 6C, I'm sorry, resolution number 1, 2526, and the 2425 final education protection account?
So moved.
It's been moved by Allison, seconded by Chris. Do I have any other questions, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passed 5-0. Okay, on to item 6D, unaudited actuals report.
Okay, now I need to get my.
Now we're gonna, now it's the real show. That was just the warm-up act.
That's good though.
Yeah,
We needed
it's always good to warm up.
So for our high school students attending, I am keeping an eye on the clock. You are to be here for 2 hours. And so at 8 o'clock, if we're still talking, I will be able to excuse you and sign your papers, or one of us. But you have about another hour.
Uh-oh, Mr. Wizard, the man from behind the curtain. Speaking of behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like
Okay, so unaudited actuals, we are closing the fiscal year. They're unaudited because our auditors have not done a final review of the numbers. So this is on, Johnny. There we
Oh,
go.
did I?
Oh my gosh, that's really small. Okay. So sorry, that's why I put copies in, you guys have copies in your packets, because it's really, really small, so sorry. Okay, I didn't realize it would be that small. So the district finished finished the year with an increase to the unrestricted ending fund balance of $2,572. You'll notice that at the bottom, the ending fund balance, I'm going to give you some numbers that are separated. The numbers that are on here on this sheet are combined unrestricted and restricted. So our unassigned balance of we have an unassigned balance of 4.5 million. This is what is going to be needed to carry the district through the 3-year projection that will be due with the first interim reporting. Our reserve comes in at 3.4% at $812,000. As previously stated in other presentations, this reserve amount does not even cover 1 month's worth of expenditures. So, we would have to really increase, which we're just not able to do right now, increase our reserve amount to like 17 or 20% in order to cover one month worth of expenditures. Right now, though, we are at 3.4, which 3% is the minimum required by the state for a size of our district. So we have a combined ending fund balance of 12 million, which is reflected in the components of ending fund balance, which you can see on this page at the bottom. Of this amount, 6.1 is restricted for categorical programs. 640,000 is assigned to programs such as mall, lottery, and supplemental, with a reserve of 812,000. And again, that leaves a 4.5 unrestricted unassigned balance. The unrestricted assigned balance of 640,000 includes the MA set aside of 248,000, supplemental 355,000, and lottery of 37. Now previously we had the supplemental was at like just over $1 million that we had reserved, set aside, assigned. And what we've done is, with a lot of the things that we have moved expenditures that are allowable into the supplemental to help alleviate some of the burden on the Quad Zero. These funds are semi-restricted because the supplemental concentration funds, you have to show improved services. So there are restrictions on that. You can't just spend it on general operating costs. So we have brought that down from $1 million to just 355,000 in bringing allowable costs into the supplemental. The contributions, let's see if I can
I don't, that's not on our presentation.
So our contributions that we have to other programs from the unrestricted general fund, special education, we have 2.7. The routine restricted maintenance, we have 772,000. Retiree benefits, we have 115,000. Site discretionary, we transferred 89,000. Peer support, 25,000. And then we had an after-school one-time payment that we needed to do of $6,200. That's totaling our 3.7 million. So one of the things that I want to bring to your attention, though, is on special education. The majority of this, the contribution is to special education, 2.7 million. But these students also generate LCFF funding. So if we were to take the average ADA of the special education population for the LCFF funding, that would be approximately 2.2 million. Okay, so you know, those students are generating revenue. They're not. It's not just an expense and a burden onto the district. The routine restricted maintenance account requires a 3% contribution to maintain our facilities, and that amount that was transferred, like I said, was 772,000. And just a little bit so that, yeah. Yeah. So on the restricted balances, so these are all of our categorical programs that have restricted balances at 6.1 million. These are remaining balances that carry over. Some of these programs will, this is their final year, they'll be ending. So those balances will drop off. Those would be classified employee professional development, kitchen infrastructure and training, and the literacy training are just a few of them that I can see right off the top of my head that would be dropping off. There are some other ones that are one-time funds that we still have till 26, 27, or 28 to expend those funds. The other one that's a big one that's in here is the Golden State Pathways program. So we received an award of 1.2 million for that program. We have actually received just over $1 million in cash for that program already, but we are still waiting for the final approval from CDE of what the actual budget is that we can expend those. So right now, as it stands today, we have that money sitting in our account, but we're not able to spend it because we don't have a final budget yet. So the teachers are working on that, and as soon as that happens, because I'm sure they're anxious to spend that money as well. So, and that is for the, see if I can get it all right, health pathway, business pathway, IT pathway, and ag pathway. Is that all of them? Yeah, so that's all of the different programs that are within the Golden State Pathways program. So we're very anxious to get that going. And that is a multi-year categorical program. So that's a big one.
And I'm just going to jump in and interrupt because it's one more behind the scenes thing. When we talk about these funds, they don't just magically appear. There's a lot of work that goes into writing the grants. We've got a couple of the best grant writers that I've had experience to work with. And then when we also talk about other CTE, career technical, there's CTIG, there's ag incentive, there's all kinds of things that I can't keep all straight what they all do. But the folks who work on them keep them all straight and do a great job in getting those monies for us so that we have the robust programs that we have for our students. We're behind the scenes.
And grant writing is something that goes above and beyond.
It's
their
a special
job
talent.
duties.
It's
It's their own time.
So, okay, since we're talking a little off, I want to say thank you also for the district office who will accept the last minute phone calls for data or information we need. Right.
behind the scenes.
So since she's not on mic, she's thanking the district office for those last minute phone calls. so that they can continue.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so the next part,
Oh, sorry, I'll go. Sorry.
sorry for the technical difficulties here. Okay, so the other funds in the district here, you can see the ending balances. So our cafeteria, just over $1 million. So again, our cafeteria is continuing to be self-supporting right now, which is a really good thing because many districts have to make contributions to their cafeteria programs. And the, excuse me, Fund 17, this was one, if you'll remember during the year, the only thing that was in there was a few dollars here and there of interest that was earning interest on top of interest. So that money was transferred out. Fund 17 would only be going back into Fund 01, so that small amount of, I believe it was $130, was transferred back into the general fund. Then we have Fund 20. Again, this is connected to that other OPEB fund. This is where we have our contributions for the other post-employment benefits in addition to what is currently in the trust. Then we have the building fund, which is at $16 million. This is really good. This is what we're projected, to complete our projects. We have the gym. I don't know. We're going to be bringing forward
The gym, the shade structure,
shade fencing.
Yeah.
Stuff at Coyote Valley. I don't remember all the different. Anyway, we'll
Sewer,
be
I
bringing
think, at
forward
Coyote Valley.
more information on the bond stuff as I think.
Yeah, we're planning on a study session in October.
Yes.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So we'll have
We don't
more
have the
details
date for
on
that
that.
yet, but.
Then the capital facilities fund. So this one also ties into the expansion of what qualifies as expansion for our bond projects. So we would be using some of those funds for complementing our building projects out of Fund 21 for the projects that do qualify. The county facilities fund is on here because it needs to show you zero. Again, this was from old money that was received from the state. The money was cleared out, was expended on the last bond project, which would have been back in 15, 16, 16, 17, something like that. And there was a few dollars, like, I don't know, pennies or something left. And over the years, it built interest on interest on interest to the point of $62. We spent $62 on bond eligible projects, and so that fund has been zeroed out. So when we get, when we get state funding, that's where that money will go, and then we will expend from there to, for any other of our building projects that are approved. Then we have Fund 40, which we transfer money in from the general fund. This is to make our QZAB loan payments. The Qualified Zone Academy bond, which is private financing that we did many years ago for the solar arrays that we have. And we expect those to be paid off in, I believe it's in 4 years. So that debt will not be with us much longer. It's approximately $240,000 a year. So this is just the remaining balance in there right now, and then we'll have to be transferring money in there to make those debt payments. We do get special considerations from the IRS. So there is a portion that we file each year. There's a portion that we get back on the interest. We get a credit back of approximately $20,000 of interest that we pay on that debt each year. But we have to fork out the payment, and then the IRS says whether or not we get that, and then the bond company returns that interest payment to us. So that's how we end up with a little bit of a balance in there. Fund 51, this is our general obligation bond debt. We have no control whatsoever over it, but is our debt obligation, and so that's why it's on here. This is the money that shows up on your property tax bill for the bonds that we have passed as a district. And we have to maintain a reserve in there that is equivalent to at least a minimum of one payment. We have 4 bonds currently, and one of them will be dropping off in a few years. But this is a normal amount that we would carry in there to have a cushion, so that if something were to happen and everything burned up, that we would still be able to pay our debt obligation and have time to recover. And then Fund 71, this is our, as we talked about earlier, our GASB 45 CISC trust statement. Even though that is being held in a trust, it is our responsibility to report it, so we have to report it in Fund 71. And you can see that our balance is $220,000. So then moving on, in the past, the district has had issues with the current cost of education, the CEA form, which for a unified district, we are required to have a minimum of 55% for classroom compensation, and this year we are at 55.5%. So we meet that obligation. And let's see, the reserve for economic uncertainty, again, we meet the 3% minimum reserve at 3.4% with $812,000 set aside for that reserve. And that's all I have, unless you have, I'm sure you guys have lots of questions.
Okay. Here we go. Does the board have some questions that they would like to ask? Okay.
I wanted to talk about how this relates to the letter we got from Brock, but I don't know if maybe we want to wait until we get to that, or, I'm just curious, I forgot to ask you about it, because the letter from him in here about.
That's for budget adoption.
Right.
That's approval of budget adoption, not unaudited actuals.
Right, but looking at the unaudited actuals, it looks like our budget situation might not necessitate as much of a reduction as he's asking us to show evidence of, and so I'm just curious how that will work out.
Yeah, and it's one of the ongoing conversations that we've been having over the last couple of weeks and will continue to have. And in looking at our position is not as dire as we thought it was going to be. There's a long answer that I will go as deep as I need to, but trying not to go deeper than I need to. But we have some uncertainty in some different areas, and so we are I'll tell you how my brain works. My brain works, I love the multi-year projection. That's my favorite form out of all of this because it's stuff that I can kind of see. With unaudited actuals, we don't get a multi-year projection. We get that at budget adoption, and the next one that we get that will be updated is at first interim. And it's one of the reasons why we don't make budget decisions for next year, for 26-27 now, because we need to wait to see, as our budget plays out, take a look at those interim budgets. And for me, look at the multi-year projection. It is all tied up. It is way more complicated. I mean, again, going back to the behind the scenes comment. But yeah, so as we progress, the next report that we send to, do we send unaudited actuals to the county?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
they'll get this, so Brock will see, and his team, it's really Brock's team.
I'm looking at his right now.
But it will be, they will look at this and have the same observation that we do of, oh, hopefully things aren't as bad as they were looking. And then when we get to first interim and we see how things are going, we will be able to have those conversations with them and be able to make the decisions that we need to make. If it's a 3-alarm fire, we want to treat it like it's a 3-alarm fire. If it's a grease fire in the kitchen, we want to treat it like it's a grease fire in the kitchen.
Right.
Those we respond to differently.
I guess my question is, he's saying, it's our understanding that the district has a board resolution for budget reductions in the amount of 1.2, 1.5 million beginning the 26-27 fiscal year. These budget reductions are to be identified by the 25-26 second interim report, including a timeline for implementation. If we don't have to make those reductions, at what, I'm just saying this, so this shouldn't be written in stone then.
Right.
We can change this.
Right. Remind me of the date that second interim gets reported.
First interim is through October 31st and is reported to the board December 15th. Second interim is through the January 31st and was reported to the board by March 15th. So we're going to see a big difference in our budget at first interim because our budget was built on a lot of vacancies. So there were assumptions, and I'm just going to use a random one. It doesn't mean that this is exactly what we did, but for a teacher vacancy that maybe we put it in there at $65,000. Well, maybe we hired a teacher that had many years of experience at 75. Or it could be the other way around. We budgeted at 65 for that vacancy and we hired somebody as an entry-level teacher. So you're going to see big changes in both our classified and certificated because we had a lot of vacancies that existed when the when the positions were rolled for budget projection. So you're going to, when we get first interim, that's where you're going to see, okay, this is now where we can see, okay, and we have a multi-year based on this more revised current data. Okay, where are we looking at our multi-year? If we do all of that and we see that, oh, okay, well, maybe we only have to reduce 800,000. Well, when they do their review, like they did of our budget adoption, they're going to say, oh, okay, well, and then the letter will come out and it will be modified. So again, the data is only good for the day that it's published, and that's it. So the rest of the time, because it's built on the assumptions that you're given for that time frame. And I'm already getting information that changes a lot of our assumptions for first interim. And I have a little file folder, first interim updates. So, we'll be seeing a big change at first interim, provided things keep continuing to go in the positive trend that they're going in now at the state level. So.
Actually, since you brought that up, I noticed that in the projections for next year, because I know we don't have the 3-year, but there was the
right.
That the income, I understand why we're not getting as much from the feds because they've talked about how they're cutting our funding, but
our funding has not been cut from the feds. There's no change in there's been no change in our budget.
When you look at the local, state, and federal revenue for next year, it looks lower than what we got for this year.
Well, we had COVID funds that were still in there in the budget for 24-25. So, and
is that considered revenue?
Yeah. We had COVID money that was in. Well, no. Let me.
It would be in the beginning balance.
It would have been. Yeah. It would have been in.
So I'm just
looking
balance. At revenue. It looked to me like revenue in all 3 categories from local, state, and federal was being.
So there is one categorical program that we don't qualify for anymore, which I believe that it's a Title III program for English learners, and that program, I want to say, was probably we didn't meet the minimum $10,000 eligibility. And so we had kind of been getting around that for a few years, and they have said no more. So we fell below that minimum of 10,000, and we would have to join a consortium, but we don't even meet the eligibility to meet for the consortium right now. And I think I want to say it was the Migrant Ed program. We still get the Title III English learner
You're
program.
freaking me out. Thank you.
Yeah, we still get that program. We're
Stop
still
making
getting
my
those
notes.
funds, but they've been reduced.
Yeah.
And then Title I has been reduced. Not in, Title I is still based on our student population. Our revenue in the past was being recognized as current year revenue when it was prior year revenue. So the coding for the revenue now when it comes in, current year revenue goes in one code, prior year goes in a separate code, so that they can be kept separate, so that especially for the multi-year. So when I do the multi-year, I don't want to include that carryover, and I make sure in my projections not to include that. So there will be reductions because we had in Title I,
Reductions in revenue.
we had, I want to say there was like $65,000 of revenue that was recognized as current year revenue that I had to transfer out. So it looked like a reduction, but we were recognizing prior year revenue in the current year because it wasn't recognized in the prior year.
Okay, okay.
So, yeah. So it may seem like there's a really big reduction, but we haven't lost a lot of, there's been a small reduction in Title I. There's the Title III migrant ed that we've lost.
Okay.
The other programs, I think, have remained stable.
So when do we look at first interim?
First interim ends October 31st, and it'll come to the board December 15th, by December 15th, whatever our December board meeting is.
So that's when we're really going to have fresh eyes on our 3-year projections.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Which,
Yes.
as you recall, was your first board meeting. And that was why that was so much fun, because you come into, hey, welcome to the board. Oh, here's first interim.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's still got to rise. All by God. Yeah, so it's, yeah, this year there will not be the welcome to the board for anybody. We'll all be, but it will certainly be giving us an idea of where we stand. It'll give us a better, every time there's a new, whether it's another interim budget or whether it's, you know, it all gives us the picture's always kind of fuzzy and getting clearer.
I would like to go a step further with asking if we could put together a board study, budget study board
Study session?
study session before the interim comes out, not to say concrete numbers or anything, process. And maybe we could ask some extra questions at that time just to have a better understanding of what we're looking at when you bring out
Yeah,
the people.
absolutely, yes.
Like
So,
to try to
and,
schedule
yeah,
that.
and one of the things that I wrote down, because we haven't established a date for our October study session on facilities and bonds, but that was, we talked a little bit earlier today about that being our next study session topic, would be looking at budget processes and all that so that we can get together and talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from the board at this time? Any questions from the community they would like to ask? Mr. Davis?
I'd just like to know when we find out, are we currently still deficit spending, or where are we at? When will we know that?
So what it looks like right now is that we are, our budget still indicates deficit spending. What this says is that our beginning balance isn't as bad as we thought. So that then raises the question of, well, if our budget isn't as bad as we thought, maybe we're not deficit spending as much as we thought. And that's a question that we will address at first interim.
Are you, but I just want to clarify. Tanya, tell us your definition, the difference between a deficit spending and a structural deficit. If you want. If you don't want to, that's okay. Because I
We're
think.
going to get a 3-page essay.
And the reason I ask is because I actually thought that I saw something different. I thought that I saw that we actually didn't deficit spend last year.
That's my point. Maybe
Okay.
I said that wrong.
Okay.
Right, so initially, I believe back for second interim, wait a second. So for second interim, I don't have those numbers here. I I see, and I can't top that off the top of my head. So we were expecting that there would be a deficit to the beginning fund or ending fund balance, right? So our ending fund balance would decrease.
Right.
Right? So our ending fund balance did have an adjustment, but the amount that we actually went to the positive was 2,500.
Yeah, so our end-
2,572 to the positive.
Right.
Okay, so that we did not have, so our revenues?
So our ending balance was $2,000 higher than our beginning balance.
Yes.
So if we were shopping at the store and we thought that we were going to spend $800 on groceries and our bank account had $1,000 in it, and our paycheck that was coming in, let's see, how can I simplify this? So we ended up spending, we didn't overspend, I guess is what I'm saying.
On the unrestricted general fund, yes, that is correct.
Okay.
We did to the tune of
$2,000.
$2,572.
And that's what we're talking about when we're talking about deficit spending, is that we're not spending more than we're bringing in
Right,
that
so
snapshot.
we want to look at, here's what our revenues are, and here's what our expenditures are. If our expenditures are more than our revenue, we're deficit spending. If they're the same, then, hey, we're doing well, as long as we have a good fund balance.
So when we talk about a structural deficit, that's when we look year over year and we see that every year we're spending more. Sometimes deficit spending is okay because
that is when you have planned deficit spending, it is for those programs that are one-time funds. You're not receiving in new revenue. You've already received that money. It's already sitting in your ending fund balance, and you have to spend that, right?
Right, we got our
that's-
GSPP funds that we're going to have
Right.
for years.
Right,
For the next several years, we're going to be deficit spending that. 'cause
Right,
we're
we're
going to be
gonna be
spending it out.
deficit spent, because we've already gotten that money. So we already know on the restricted side of the budget. And most of that happens, you want most of that to happen on the restricted side of the budget. However, we do have it on the unrestricted side of the budget, as I stated with, those are on the classifieds, or they're on the restricted side. There are not any programs that I can think of off the top of my head that would be on the unrestricted side that would qualify as planned deficit spending.
So we should know more in December whether or not we have potentially successfully addressed our structural deficit.
Yes.
Not getting hopes up, but
correct.
Should be looking
right.
very
Because
positive.
a structural deficit is like you said, it's when year over year you have your revenues are not meeting your expenditures.
Right.
Your expenditures are outpacing year over year over year. When it's just when it's a one-off, it's like, okay, well, we did a 12% increase, and the next year, oh, whoops, we didn't plan quite right, and now we have a deficit. Now we have to bounce back and recover from that.
Right.
Okay, so that would be, if that's ongoing, that becomes a structural deficit. If it's a one-off, then that's just your deficit spending for that year. We need to plan, we need to recover, which is what we're trying to do right now. We are trying to recover from a multi-year structural deficit in our 3-year MYP. So at budget adoption, and I think I said this at budget adoption, if we had to add on that 4th year, we would not have been positive, right? So that's
because
how
of our projections.
That's how close we are, yeah. And again, our projections were based on the data that we
course.
had
Yeah.
at that time. And as I just said, I'm already getting new information that is more positive for us, as long as the state continues in that direction. So, yeah. Does that answer your questions?
Yeah, I think so. Does that help?
I think we have another.
Yeah.
I have one very specific question that somebody asked me and I didn't know the answer to. Usually I kind of have some answer. On the 55% for classroom, somebody asked me if our, I'm trying to think of the right wording, our outside placements. So if we
So like
have
a student placed in
special
a
needs-
non-public school?
Yes, a special needs student that's placed somewhere outside of our district. Are those,
That's a really good
are
question.
those
I don't know that.
expenses considered part of their classroom and in our 55%? And I didn't know the answer to this person that asked me. So, and
The
you
answer can be, I don't know, I'll get
and-
back to you.
And you can get back to me, I just didn't know.
I would have to get back to
Okay.
Yeah.
That was,
That's
That is a really good question.
Ms. Pizer gets an A for question asking. Well, and Adam had a strawberry shortcake sweatshirt. Did I miss a
right.
spirit day?
Wednesday's strawberry shortcake day instead of Mean Girls Day.
Oh, okay. I will tell you, I make a pretty mean strawberry shortcake.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, item 60, your unaudited actuals report. Do I have a motion to approve item 60?
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Chris, seconded by Annette. Any other discussion, any other questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass 5-0. Okay, on to item 7A, first read of board policies. So this is our first read. We will need 2 board members that would be willing to meet with Mr. Crane to come back and give us a recommendation, and hopefully answer any questions that we might have.
I can volunteer.
Okay, we have Annette. I wouldn't mind doing it. Allison and Patsy did it last time, I think.
Okay,
So you
Annette
might
and
be
Zoe?
Annette and Zoe.
Okay,
yeah.
I will reach out to calendar.
All right. And item 7B, appoint Jenny Lacy as parent advisor to the SELPA Community Advisory Committee. Do I have any questions regarding that or a motion to approve?
Is she aware?
She is. She is. She's actually been serving in this. This is an annual appointment, and yes, Tamara reached out to her. Yep, she is.
So moved.
It's been moved by Annette. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Allison. Oh, any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed 5-0. Student items 8A, interdistrict transfer request. First off, do I have a motion to approve the interdistrict transfer request?
So moved.
It's been moved by Annette. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Chris. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed 5-0. Item 8B, interdistrict process.
Okay, so I shared with you guys in the update that I found out that, I'll give you a little bit of context. So we were meeting as superintendents from throughout the county and talking about all kinds of different things, and this came up as one of the topics. And it came up that some of the districts, there are only a couple of districts that have a board approval vote, and most of the districts don't. And so I came back and did some research and found the ed code and the board policy. And we are not required to have this come to the board for an approval vote. And having it come to, and I don't know what the history is, so I don't want to make a change without telling you and getting your input. I also don't want to have us, a couple board meetings go by and you guys go, wait a minute, what happened? That's not a good look. So I don't know what the history is of how it came to be that the board was voting on these. I will tell you my philosophy, and I believe the philosophy of the administrative team, is that we want all the kids to come to school here. But if there's a reason that a family wants to go somewhere else, I don't want students here who them and their families don't want to be here. As far as students coming here from other districts, we want all the students to come. We do a little bit of research on the things that we can see in CalPads as far as grades and attendance and some things like that, because we don't want to necessarily take on a project that we don't need. But we work with the families as well. And so, I don't know, I mean, if it's not required, I don't know if it's something that you guys have a particular reason that you want to take a look. I just kind of want to throw it out there and give you a little bit of context and then just sit back and let you guys discuss.
I think it's probably just the way that Ed Code and the policy is interpreted, because it says the board may enter into an agreement with another school district.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're saying that that agreement could just be a 5-year, this applies to every interdistrict transfer pupil during that 5-year period, and not every single time it comes up every year, that's what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that it does say that the board enters into a contract, or an agreement, rather, not a contract, but an agreement.
May.
Yeah, and that we do them every year. The Ed Code gives license to be able to do them up to 5 years. And maybe we even just turn it around so that I'm approving, I mean, like I've told you that some of them, as we're getting to the start of the school year, and we wanted to get kids into schools, ours or others, wherever they were going, maybe it's one of those where we go ahead and sign off and then bring it to you for ratification after the fact.
So it would be
I don't know.
part of the consent agenda then, instead of a separate?
Well, and we could put anything in the consent agenda that we want to.
Isn't it usually part of the consent agenda?
Yeah, but maybe it was pulled out because of this discussion.
I'm not, has it been part
Do
of
you
the
know?
consent agenda? Okay, so
Just for
it used to
today,
be.
just for this
No?
one, or on?
No, actually, I think you mentioned it was like not this year, it was like last year when we started doing that. It was asked to be pulled so that if there could be discussion, you guys could discuss it a little bit more than the consent.
Yeah.
I think it was before I got here
There's
that it got
some-
pulled from
well,
consent.
There's some history, because you're talking about process, but way back when there was a lot of discussion around the interdistrict transfers, there was concern because there have been times where we've been impacted and we worried that we have families that are part of our community now that we'd be kicking out of our school district, and it would be really disruptive to the community, the family, the siblings, and everything. And so that was why at that time we wanted to talk more about the policy and like how often those families had to sort of fight for their spot.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So I don't know, I guess I'm not quite sure what you're asking for at this point. Sorry.
That's okay. I was thinking, when I was reading through the AR and the policy, and thinking maybe it's something that we should bring back and have a full discussion on the regulation of interdistrict.
Well, I'm thinking, so my thought is, it's not required to come to the board for approval.
At this,
Which part though, the actual
The
policy
interdistrict
or
agreements, the interdistrict agreements,
So each situation for each child is what you're talking about?
Correct.
Like the spreadsheet that we approve
Yes.
every, okay.
Yes, that is not
Not
required.
the policy that you're talking
Right.
about.
As far as the reasons why we approve or don't approve, that's in board policy.
Okay.
But as far as the spreadsheet of approving these kids to come in and those kids to go out, that is not required to come to you for approval.
So it could just be an informational item on the agenda?
It could just not even be on the agenda.
well, actually, and Chris, thanks for saying that, because I did think about that and think, well, it does have something to do with budget. I mean, it's ADA related, and at some point, we might say, well, how many of our students are interdistrict transfers?
And we can provide that information for you at
If
any
we
time
need-
without
if we need that
having
time.
it come to you for approval every month.
So just to make sure we're in compliance with Ed Code, the agreement that we enter into, which could be a 5-year agreement, would that be the two school boards, like us in Canocti or us in Calistoga or whoever?
So what happens is it's the administration, it's the superintendents so I sign it for us, Nikki Thomas signs it for Kelseyville, Becky Salado signs it for Canocti. And
And so what's going to happen at some point, the district decides, or the superintendents decide, we don't want to allow this anymore, then it would need to come to the board to change the policy,
Or maybe not the policy, but the agreement.
the ed code? through
Well,
ed code?
because that's where I'm getting stuck, because believe me, I've never seen us,
Right.
not approve.
Right, yeah, it's kind of a rubber stamp.
But it says the governing boards of 2 or more school districts may enter into an agreement, which I feel like the agreement is different than the spreadsheet that we see. So I think to be in compliance with the law, maybe we still need to see something, some kind of, signature page or whatever between us and the other school district.
Well,
to approve it.
there is that interdistrict agreement that is a contract, it is a paper that the family fills out. They start with their resident school district. Their resident school district signs it. It comes to us.
But the board policy and the law doesn't talk about the family. It talks about the 2 school districts having an agreement. And I remember this being a question way back when too. It was like, it sounds like the law and the policy are addressing how the 2 districts are going to, like, hey, Canocti, are you willing to take our kids when they want to come? Or hey, Middletown, is Canocti willing to take our, you have that initial high-level agreement. And then when the individual families and, do the paperwork, that doesn't go to the board. It's just that first, that's how I read the law. I don't know.
Okay.
But I hear
I
what
see
you're
that, yeah.
saying. You don't want to have to bring that every time a family wants to be part of a transfer. We shouldn't have to have it on the board.
Yeah, I think that we can speed our process and better serve our families.
Yeah, especially during the summertime, when families are trying to get this all
Yeah.
together, and we don't have a board meeting, and my student's not approved to go, and school's going to start. I just think, again, that, if the policy and the regulation is in place and it's following the ed code, then, yeah, I don't think we would need to see the paperwork. But just as long as we're in agreement, the board is in agreement with the policy and the regulation and how it's.
Yeah, if there's something in the policy that you guys want to change,
Yeah.
I will tell you that they are looking at updating, we are looking at updating the form that we use as a county.
I can imagine. Is it
Because
same
the
one?
county that we use, it's the same one that's been forever. And they actually, it's funny because it got presented as, oh yeah, we redid this form. And then I saw one from Sonoma County that I'm like, oh, that's the new form. So we're borrowing it from Sonoma County apparently, which I thought was just kind of funny. But I borrow stuff from places all the time, so.
I just want to.
I can bring the new form to you guys and show you the new form as well. I mean,
And just to protect you, when the law is saying the governing boards of 2 or more school districts may enter into an agreement, it doesn't say the governing board or the board's designee. And so I want to be careful that we're not putting you in a position to be signing master agreements that don't get approved by the board, and then, somehow you get.
And we don't have an overall master agreement. That's not part of the process. We have the agreements for each individual student.
Student for every year,
Yep.
which is.
Meredith has a whole file.
Which then, again, concerns me because the language is pretty clear that it's the governing board that enters into the agreement, not the designee of the governing board. So I don't know. I mean, if y'all are okay with continuing to do it that way, and maybe we do need to look at the policy, and in our policy, if we feel like that's the right thing to do, then we can write into our policy that we're willing to have our designee do that on our behalf. But I would just feel more comfortable for Jeff if we protected him a little bit.
So let me put this out and see where we stand, because I'm kind of hearing 2 different things, and I'm hearing from, we're having this conversation. I want to make sure that Allison, Chris, and Patsy, that you guys that are heard as well. Sometimes I want to just go sit right there. Just take my microphone and go sit over there.
I just want to say I started talking because Janelle pointed it out that I was the one that pulled it out to begin with. So I'm
just trying to defend.
That's
my
fair. No, no, no.
position.
Yeah. Well, it's just kind of one of the challenges of the geography of our meeting. It's why we don't meet like this in work sessions and study sessions. So here, I'm hearing two different things. One, concern to make sure that we are hitting what's supposed to happen as an overarching agreement between boards. And I can reach out to Brock as our county superintendent, and depending on the answer that I get from him, I can then determine whether or not we need to incur an expense of reaching out to our legal counsel. So there's that piece. And there's the other piece of the process that we're going through for individual students and families presently. So as a board, and this isn't, I don't know, it's not like a resolution, we don't need to vote, I can just take your direction as a group. But as a board, are you comfortable with those individual student agreements not coming to you monthly? Or do you want to wait until we get further input from Brock and our legal counsel? Patsy, Chris, Allison, what do you think?
I think we could probably just, like, the middle ground would be just to wait until we hear back, and then, you know, then we're not pulling something and then putting it back on. So let's just see what he says, and if nobody has a discrepancy, I would think the only inter-district thing that would really be a discrepancy is if we had one and we decided not to honor it.
Okay.
Not so much like, no, you can't go to Lakeport because your mom works there and she needs to get you to and from school, or you can't go to Calistoga or whatever, but more the only contentious part is not.
Okay. And we have had a couple students who asked to come to our school, who, in working with the principals and in looking at some of the things that were going on, that we have declined. We have had some of those, so.
And just as long as we're following the policies and the regulations.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So all we see is the spreadsheet with inter-district transfers. We don't see the actual, agreements or anything. So do we currently have agreements with schools? Or do
We don't
just
have
do it on a
overarching
one-by-one
agreements. No, there are not overarching agreements, at least not that I'm aware of.
basis? And if we were to do
Right.
an agreement,
No.
we wouldn't be obligated, right? So if we have a student that's, assaulting another student all the time, we needed to deny, we would still be able to under the agreement.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the witching hour.
And right now, the spreadsheet's always an action item. It doesn't necessarily need to be.
Yeah, so if nothing else, we can move it into the consent if we're okay with that.
I'd be all right with it. I like to see it, just see what's
Okay.
going
I
in
just
and
kind
out,
of like
but
to see the numbers.
Okay.
Just
whatever's
for
behind the
information,
scenes is.
Behind the scenes, quote of the phrase of the day, the phrase that pays. Okay, so for now, we'll put it on the consent agenda. Because we're in the school year, you okay if I keep signing them and bring them to you so that we can get students into school? Okay, so that'll be the change we make at this point, that I will sign preemptively. I will also reach out to Brock and get his answer, and then depending on that answer, potentially reach out to Caitlin, our school and college legal person.
Just for your own protection.
I appreciate, hey, I will take all the protection I can get.
So this is going to come back to us then.
Yeah, so for now, and I'm talking and not taking notes. Okay, thank you. Behind the scenes. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and keep signing because the school year is underway. And we will put it on the consent agenda. And I will reach out to Brock, depending on his answer, potentially Caitlin. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item 9, personnel. A, job share contract between Meter and Townsend for the 25-26 school year. Do I have a motion to approve this job share contract?
I move to approve.
It's been moved by Allison. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Chris. And I understand, I just have a quick question. I have my note here. Looking at the contract, there was a missing signature, one of the. Okay, cool. All right, and with this, I have a first and a second, and all in favor?
Wait.
She'll call for an abstention. I will.
Oh, okay, all right. Wanted to make sure.
I know, he's all worried about me.
But, well, because I want to make sure that she gets a chance to explain.
Yeah.
What?
Okay,
Is
Yeah.
it- And the district's recommending that we approve it?
Yes.
Okay.
so my other question too was, is there any extra cost to the district with this contract in place?
There is no extra cost.
Okay.
I actually was part of the interview process for both of these teachers, and recommend that we move forward, for sure.
Okay. I'm going to ask for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Aye. Opposed? Abstained?
Aye.
Okay, we've had 4 yeses, 1 abstained. At this time, if you'd like to share why you're abstaining, that would be fine.
Personal conflict of interest with a family member.
Okay.
And I am going to jump in a little bit more. We did check with legal counsel, because one of these folks is Miss Patchy's daughter. And we wanted to make sure that there was not a legal conflict of interest, because the daughter is financially separate, a self-sustaining entity.
She's an adult.
She's an adult, and doesn't, she doesn't live at home, she doesn't get so it is not a legal conflict of interest, but in the spirit of decorum and wanting to make sure that things are done properly and ultra above board, Ms. Patchy is abstaining.
Okay.
Sustaining, whatever.
Well, thank you for sharing her reason for abstaining.
Sorry.
Superintendent
And
Crane.
a little more context.
Okay, so I don't even remember who moved and who seconded, but I'm sure it's written by the secretary.
Janelle's got it.
And we all voted, so it passed.
4-0.
4 and one abstention. Okay, item B, new offers, additional assignments, changes, extra duties. Do I have a motion to approve item 9B?
Move to approve 9B.
It's been moved by Chris. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Annette. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained?
Should I abstain on this one too?
Yes, you should.
Okay, I will abstain. I'm looking at names going, I think I'll
Yep,
abstain.
she's on that one too.
as well.
Okay, yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, it's passed. 4 yeses, 0 opposed, and 1 abstention. Abstained. Item 9C, authorization to teach outside credential resolution. Do I have a motion to approve the authorization to teach outside of credential?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Patsy and seconded by Chris. Do I have a motion to approve, or is there any questions? Do I have a motion to approve? Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passed 5-0.
I was following you right down the path, so.
Thank you. Hey, I had a late night last night.
Go Giants.
Go Giants. Item 8C, resolution number 4, authorization to teach outside
You just did that one. 8D.
credential. 8D, 2526, designation of CIF representatives to league. Do I have a motion to approve item 8D?
9D.
9D.
Sorry, I said 8D, my fault.
I have a motion to approve 9D.
Move to approve.
It's been moved by Chris, a second.
Second.
Seconded by Patsy. I do have a quick question. It does say a date, motion to approve, is it late? The CIF is supposed to be no later than June 27?
They'll get it when they get it.
Okay.
It was just brought to me this month, so.
Okay, I guess we'll find out. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose, pass 5-0. Item 10, curriculum and instruction, resolution number 3, regarding sufficiency or insufficiency of instructional textbooks. Do I have a motion to approve this?
Move to approve.
It's been moved by Chris. Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any discussion or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass 5-0. Item 11, correspondence. The letter from Brock, it was brought up earlier. I don't know if we need to read that.
Nope.
It just is.
No, thank you. Sorry.
It's attached. And anybody in the audience or in the public can go ahead and read that. Pending agenda items, we have just the interdistrict transfers.
Yep. And 2 study sessions that we're going to be working to get scheduled. An October study session on facilities and bonds, and then one after that, talking about budgetary process.
Okay. Thank you. And announcements, any announcements? Important upcoming dates? Jeff just explained the different dates that are coming up, our board workshop and our regular board meeting, and then we're going to be adding more dates to that.
Yep.
Okay, at this time, we're going to take a motion to adjourn back to closed session. Do I have a motion to adjourn to closed session?
So moved.
It's been moved by Patsy. Do I have a second?
I second.
Seconded by